In the 90s, Gen Xers were looking to movies to help paint the picture of their lethargic teenage years. Directors like Cameron Crowe stepped up to the plate and released the film Singles in 1992, as well as actor Ben Stiller with the film Reality Bites in 1994. But it would be another 5 years before American Pie would be released in theaters, so someone had to fill the void. Luckily, a man from Red Bank, New Jersey decided to rise to the challenge. And I'm speaking of the filmmaker, podcaster, comic book enthusiast Kevin Smith. Now, Kevin Smith was born in August 2nd, 1970, and when he first saw the Richard Linklater film Slacker in 1991, he decided to make his own films. So he moved to Leonardo, New Jersey, and got a job at a convenience store, which would become the backdrop for his debut low-budget film Clerks. That film was a smash and a huge success in the independent film community, so Kevin made other films that featured some of the same characters. He labeled this the View Askewniverse, which is a play off of the production company he has, View Askew Productions. Fans fell in love with all the quirky characters like Dante, Brody, Randall, and Holden, but most beloved are the stoner pair Jay and Silent Bob. Jay is played by actor Jason Mewes, while Silent Bob is portrayed by Kevin Smith himself. By 2004, Kevin began making films outside of the Askewniverse, which range from comedy to thriller to horror. As a comic book connoisseur and superhero fan, he attends several Comic Cons, wrote for Marvel Comics and DC, and produced a reality show for AMC called Comic Book Men. He also created and co-hosts his own podcast, or should I say Smodcast, which he does with his longtime friend and collaborator, Scott Moiser. But like most American directors, he will be dead someday. Mostly because, if you don't know, he suffered a heart attack earlier this year, and that meant he had to be forced to go on a vegan diet, and he lost over 50 pounds in the process. However, his untimely death could be any time, so we are going to pay our respects to him now by ranking all 12 of his films from worst to best. And to do that, we have Caroline here. She sat and watched all of his movies to complete her list. So I hope you were okay with that.
It was great.
It was great. So that's why we have her doing this, because she actually enjoyed it. So we're gonna see what she thought of this. So this will be a two-part tribute. In this part, she's going to be ranking the 6 films in the View Askewniverse. I got to practice saying that.
Yeah.
All right. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So without further ado, here we go. Caroline's ranking of all 6 Viewer Askewniverse Universal films. What is your number 6 movie?
Okay, well, I just want to say that some of these ratings are going to make diehard Kevin Smith fans a little mad.
That's what we do best here.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So number 6, I'm saying, is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Wow, the one that has the characters everyone loves the most.
I know. I think the best part of this movie was how meta it was and how like self-referential. How they kept talking about how like when Holden was like, you know, reading the comments off that website and was like, you know, Jay and Silent Bob suck. Like no one would want to watch a movie of just the two of them.
Right.
And there was a lot of like breaking of the fourth wall, which I thought was good when they brought like Matt Damon back to do like Goodwill Hunting 2 hunting season. I thought that was really funny.
Got a lot of cameos in that movie. Everybody from Mark Hamill to the kid from American Pie, and also James Van Der Beek as well. So why is it so low then?
Because the best part are the cameos.
George Carlin, great too.
Yeah, always. But other than that, it's really just like a slightly above average stoner / road trip / case of my mistaken identity / diamond heist. / sexy ladies in cat suits who do admit that they're cliches / incompetent lawmen. There's Monkey in there. So what really sets it apart is that it is like a very Kevin Smith movie. And you feel that in every scene. But other than that, it's kind of like a movie everyone's seen before, but with Jay and Silent Bob. Yeah.
Like a whole movie about them is this little too much.
And that's what a lot of the self-referential jokes were. And like, honestly, that was the part I liked the most. I thought, because I liked I like them as characters. I think they're really funny.
All right, so that's the lowest one there. Let's see
that's
how they
number
get a little
6.
better. What is your number 5 one then?
My number 5, this is the one that's going to make people mad, is the original Clerks.
Okay, all right. So the torches are getting lit right now.
Yeah,
They're coming to the
so
studio.
I do want to say that this isn't a bad thing that he's so low on my totem pole. This just shows that as he went on to make movies, he learned and grew and evolved as a writer-director. One of the best things about the movie is that it's like a testament to how successful a really low-budget movie can be. The main characters of Randall and Dante are like good foils to each other, where Randall lives like day by day, happy with his menial, almost meaningless life, and Dante is a ball of anxiety and depression, who's like always afraid that like their time has passed to like make anything for their lives.
Yeah.
I mean, like the main theme of it is still rings true today. Just like how the ennui of early 20-somethings living in a bland, boring town is like this self-fulfilling, self-feeding prophecy where it's just like you're stuck in this town. You're always going to be stuck in this town doing this dead-end job. The acting isn't great. There are noticeable places where like actors flubbed their lines, but it was still left in the movie. And like, I'm not a prude, but so much of the humor was just based on like just sheer gross out humor that like it didn't really do anything for me. Like I liked it when I was like 15 and it was like, you know, edgy and like funny because like I had never heard jokes like that.
I get you. So you're saying even though people can look at this movie as possibly being like timeless,
yeah,
but you're saying that it's not a bad movie. It's just he did better.
Exactly.
Okay.
It was his first movie. So, of course, his other movies are going to get, you know, as he grows as an artist.
So there you go, you guys. You don't have to kill her today.
Yeah, you don't have to find me and stone me to death.
All right. So what is your number 4 on the list?
So, again, I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but I don't
You
care.
say that for everyone? Come on.
I know. Well, my number 4 is Mallrats.
Mallrats,
I
okay.
really like Mallrats.
Not that much, though. It's number 4.
Well,
but,
I like it more than Clerks, which is like his
Right.
classic timeless movie that everyone just like loves so much.
okay.
But I see a lot of growth in Smith as a director and a writer between Clerks and Mallrats. I mean, Mallrats is still a lot of like gross out humor, but not as much. It's a little tamed back.
This is just a year after Clerks. Too.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so 94 to 95,
Yep.
he grew a lot, at least to rank one higher.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Go on then.
I think his directing is more sophisticated. His dialogue is a little more realistic, a little less racy. I don't like how he keeps using like slurs, like the R word, which he uses in like almost all of his movies.
It was 90s. What do you want from us?
We should have still known better. And like, and I'm gonna get into it later, but he still uses a lot of like the N word and like variants on that, and like white people shouldn't be
Okay.
saying that. So with the bigger budget, the film in of itself is just bigger. It's still kind of self-contained, like Clerks, where instead of it being in a convenience store, it's in a mall. So there's a lot more like opportunity for intersecting plot lines. And like Michael Rooker is in it, and I love Michael Rooker. And like he plays the character as like half against type, where he's like sniveling and like begging to like the TV execs, and like I think it was the governor. But then he also plays like the quintessential Michael Rooker character, where he's like the villain
Right.
of like TS and Brody. And you could kind of just like see how much fun he was having.
Yeah. Lick
So-
off his finger, too. I
Yeah,
recall.
yeah, then get like extremely sick.
Yeah. It's a staple in that generation. So
Yeah.
if you catch it late and you've seen other movies on that caliber, you might look at this as kind of like, you know, amateur, but
Yeah.
I understand that. All right, so we're in the top 3 now. What is number 3?
My number 3 is Clerks 2. I think it was a great sequel to the original film.
That one was in color, 2006.
Yes, it was.
Probably the last movie he's done in this whole universe thing's up to date right now.
Yep.
Some people said it was kind of tripe, but you liked it because
I did like it. I thought that the rest, like that the references to the rest of like the View Askewniverse, and especially to the first film, aren't like overwhelming and distracting like they are in some of the other movies. The love triangle was a little, you know, just like annoying because it's like it has to show up in every movie and I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
But I really liked the addition of Rosario Dawson's character. I loved the dance sequence. I'm like
Yeah.
a sucker for like a musical dance sequence in a movie. And I liked the addition of the character Elias. I thought that was a nice, so it wasn't just Dante
Danto and Rante.
Dante and Randall. I thought he was really funny. Wasn't a fan of the donkey show part for kind of obvious
Just about to ask
reasons.
you that.
Yeah, that was, I think, the low point. And I liked how by the end you kind of see that Randall and Dante have like their characters have completely switched from the first movie, where Randall is feeling like I'm in my 30s and I haven't done anything, and like Dante is like getting married and moving to Florida and is like doing something with his life, and they have this like big confrontation in the prison where it's like really like meaningful and it really kind of gets you, and like I think it's the best acting they do on both sides. And I just think, I don't know, I think it's really funny. And again, like the central theme, as with the original movie, is like the ennui of like 30 somethings feeling that they're too old to change their lives, or that it's still too late to make something from themselves, which is like something that's relatable as I'm like getting closer and closer to 30.
All right, then. What is number 2?
Chasing Amy. When I first watched this movie in high school, when I was like going through his whole filmography, I wasn't the biggest fan of it, and I don't really know why. But rewatching it, I can see why it's considered by some to be his absolutely best, like his best work, and that it's like critically acclaimed and like audiences really loved it.
Yeah, this one does the whole like romantic comedy movie, but it's a little twist because the woman he's pursuing is not into dudes at all.
Exactly.
Aside from that, you get the other characters, Jay and Silent Bob, who we haven't been mentioning a lot in these movies. I guess they serve as more of a backdrop.
Yeah, for the most part, they're kind of just in and out. And I think in Chasing Amy, they're only in that one scene where they're like in the diner and Kevin Smith does his longest monologue about like the woman that he fell in love with and then threw it all away. And he's always been like chasing Amy.
Okay.
So
what'd you think of the whole, like, whoever plays Amy? I think her name is like Joey Lawrence.
Adams. Yeah, I wrote it down.
Yeah.
I think that Joey Lauren Adams is a good actress. I just don't like her voice. And that's such a shallow thing to say. So maybe even like the first time I watched it, that's why I wasn't a big fan, was just because of her voice. But like overall, Smith does a good job of like discussing the fluidity and complications of sexuality, because Alyssa, Adams' character, identifies as a lesbian, but then she says, that she has had relationships with men in the past, and that, then she has spoilers, then she has a relationship with Ben Affleck. So like, I mean, I don't know why they couldn't have called her bi or pansexual, but it was the 90s.
Mm-hmm. I actually, same thing, saw that movie, didn't like it either, but I'll watch it again. So your number one movie is my number one movie.
Oh, good.
Aw, same Z's, and your number one film that in this universe is
Dogma.
Yes.
I was actually in Red Bank and I went to Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash and I bought a Buddy Christ. They sell those little Buddy Christ.
Buddy Christ. This is the 1999 movie that dealt with religion.
Yep.
And I thought it, and you could say it's the same thing, but the reason I like this so much is because, going from Clerks to this has got a really, really good plot. Mm-hmm. He seems like he really understood the Bible enough to like make a story that is a little sacrilegious, but at the same time is possible, where like angels find a loophole and they're trying to get into heaven, which could wipe out all of the existence that God created, because that's God's plan. Deep story right there. Yeah. And right then after that, you got all the jokes, you got all the humorous characters. You bring back Jay and Silent Bob, and they have a more of a purpose than other movies because they're prophets.
Yeah, exactly.
But why did you put it at number 1 then?
Well, I love Alan Rickman.
That's it. All right.
But I mean, it has Alan Rickman, Bud Cort, George Carlin, Janine Garofalo, a bunch of actors that are just some of my favorites. Chris Rock, I do love Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
And like Smith was raised Catholic, so he does do a good job of like analyzing the religion both from the inside and the outside. So kind of exploring like Bethany's character of like having been very religious and then kind of losing her religion. And then also from the outside, we see this like very like critical and negative view of it. You know, they say
nice
he's
twist on who God actually portrayed at the end. No one saw that coming in the theater.
Loved it. Loved it. I thought everybody was great. I thought that like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, of course, had really great interactions. They were really good. Again, Jay and Silent Bob were really good together. And just the fact that like the movie dealt with like such heavy and deep material. So like it dealt with a lot of like really sophisticated stuff while still being a classic Kevin Smith film.
Yes.
It's the one I've seen the most, and it's the one that I will always love. The only downside really is the woman who played Bethany. I thought she was really flat. I didn't like the poop monster. And obviously the CGI wings weren't great, but it was like 1999. So like, I'm going to give it a pass.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's a great list. So that is part one of our tribute. So stay tuned for part two, which will feature his films outside of the View Askewniverse. So let us know what you think in the comments about Caroline's ranking, and send us an email if you want. We would really appreciate your thoughts.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Noise, noise, noise. Smoking weed, doing coke, drinking beers, beers. Rolling fatties, smoking blunts. Who smokes the blunts? We smoke the blunts. Rolling blunts and smoking.